What are some of the most important life lessons that your father taught you?
The most important that I would say that he has taught me is you get out of life what you put into it. The thought that great things are just naturally going to happen to you without hard work or long term effort um, is pretty unrealistic. So if you want great things, you have to know what you want. You'll never find your way to get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. So you got to know what you want, and then when you know what you want, then you can start figuring out how to get that. What effort can I do every day, every week, every month? What measurable steps can I have to eventually get what I want? And that can be applied to almost anything, whether it's a relationship, a financial success, a home, car, a physical health, whatever it is.
Right. So you're not just going to get what you want in life. You got to actually put in the work and you've got to have a plan in the process.
Absolutely. First, you got to figure out what you want. And that's a lot of people's problems. They don't even know what they want. They just know they're not happy or they're not successful, however they define it, but they don't know what it is that they do want. First, you got to know what you want. Then, when you have the knowledge of what you want, then you can figure out what do I need to do in order to accomplish that.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's that process.
That process, and you can break that down into a lot of ways, but um, measurable goals of, hey, I want this car. The first thing is do I have the money for the down payment? What can I do today to eventually get to those goals later on?
Right. Thinking about it long term.
Yes. Actionable steps.
What are some of the favorite memories you have with your father?
My dad and I spent a lot of time growing up hunting and fishing. And so some of the memories that I've had were, again, long, hard efforts. You had that goal of I wanted to get a deer. Well, how do you get there? I killed my first deer when I was 7 years old with him. So as a 7-year-old, knowing I can't even get a tag until I can safely operate a gun. I have to learn to shoot a BB gun before I could shoot a 22, before I could shoot a high power rifle to be able to handle the gun to go hunting. Um, each of those steps, was fun. You took an end goal of the hunting trip. Maybe you didn't get a deer, maybe you did, but the whole experience leads to memories, not just of the final moment of the event, but the learning experience, the growth, the time that got spent with those. And I think a lot of those also, that you get a reward. You go hunting, you have success, you get a deer, you get to eat that deer for days, weeks, months afterwards, and remember and relive and experience those things for more than, again, just that moment. So camping, outdoor stuff, fishing, um, those are probably my best memories with my father growing up.
A lot of outdoor activities. He was like an outdoorsy person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even with more than just entertainment, with lifestyle, cut our own firewood. So being young, going to the woods with dad, construction, building cabins and tree stands and things like that. Yeah, outdoor activities. We wouldn't sit on the couch and watch TV together. We didn't share those interests. It was always an outdoor or a physical, yeah, activity.
So, and that probably resulted in you having a lot of you like skills that you can still fall back to on this, like to this day.
Absolutely. I'll be on the beach fishing tomorrow morning at 5:30 in the morning. Not because I don't have food, but because I'm in town for vacation, but I already made a friend that's got the fishing equipment. So it's like, hey, if you're going fishing tomorrow morning and I'm welcome to come, here, I bought a license and I'll be there tomorrow morning. So whereas a lot of people would have never developed those universal skills, language. If you don't know what a fishing rod is, well, then you can't talk to the guy about, hey, man, a 12-foot rod is impressive to get the invitation to go to the beach. So yeah, those skills, they can and they have fed me. There's wild game in my deep freeze at home right now. And they've also given me opportunities to spend time with my own kids and pass those generational skills on to give them the confidence that, hey, inflation is real. The price of meat goes up and you want a steak. If you can butcher a deer and you were taught to do that, you can butcher a pig, you can butcher a cow, those skills are very applicable for modern life if you're willing to put them to use.
And so, you're a father. What's some of the advice you would give? Let's say there's a young guy who is a new father, right? Firstborn kid, he's brand new to being a father. What advice would you give a young father?
It'll never seem like you're ready. You doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how prepared you think that you're gonna be. It will always feel like you're not prepared. I think that the biggest thing, if we're talking from masculinity and not just parenthood, fatherhood, newborns, even into the toddler age, don't think that those experiences are going to be your overall experience with your kid. Just biologically, that's not your time to shine, man. So like I didn't feel I ever bonded with my own kids until they could roll the ball across the floor back to me. We could physically interact. And all three of my kids are at my house right now. And they're all old enough. One's 25. One just graduated from college last week. One graduated from high school last week. So,
Congrats to them. Congrats to them.
yes, yeah. Thank you very much. Success. Yes. But it's, don't think you have to have this amazing bond right at birth. And don't think if they were taken out of your life for a period of time. One of my kids, I didn't get to see for 2 years. Their mom moved all the way across the country and it took multiple court cases to get back in their life. So don't think you won't have a great future relationship with your kids if you haven't had that great of a relationship for the time or their age or the time that you've gotten to spend with them. That'd be probably a huge thing for me. You can still absolutely have a great relationship with your kids no matter what their age is. I think that kids want to know their parents. If you didn't put that work in, as long as you're willing to admit, I probably screwed up. I didn't put that work in. We didn't have a relationship. I want to now. Don't think because you haven't that you can't or you won't. And that doesn't matter if it's a 2-year-old that, hey, I haven't bonded with this kid, or if they're a 20-year-old that you didn't know you had. It wouldn't matter the situation. Don't think that because you haven't in the past, you can't have a great relationship with your kids in the future if you're willing to put that work in.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the most important lessons that you are now trying to pass on to your kids?
Your physical health is probably one of, if not the most important thing that you'll ever have that you can't get back. And so a lot of young people, they do things damage to their body from poor choices, from excessive alcohol to excessive drug use, poor diet choices. Oh, I can always work out later. The stretch marks don't go away. You've got to take care of yourself from the beginning. If you didn't see the results that you wanted from being from choices in the past, change those choices and get the results later on. Just because you've done something previously this way, or your family, even me, my own kids, it's hard for me to say this is going to work for you because it's a different world. If you try to raise your kids with the same way you were raised, it's not going to work. And so I think a big lesson is education. The world is not in the future going to be the successful people are not going to be made by how hard they physically work. It's going to be made by what they know and their mental work. So for my own kids, education has been a priority, and that doesn't mean a college degree. Education is different than college degree. But the physical health and the education are probably the biggest things that I've tried to get my kids in their teenage and early 20s to focus on and to realize the importance of those things at those points in their life. And then the last, wait to have kids until you are very confident that you are ready. Don't let a partner or a parent or a grandparent push you into having kids before you are ready. You'll never feel ready, but if you think I'm not ready at all to have kids, you're probably not. But I think a lot of people, they have kids when they weren't prepared or they weren't wanting kids. And it's hard to say you can be the best parent that you can be if you're doing something you didn't intend to do. So plan to have your kids when it's a good time in your life rather than an accident.
Right. Right. So take care of your physical health.
Yep.
Make sure you're learning, educate, not necessarily a college degree, but make sure that you're teaching yourself things, learning things.
Yep.
And then also make sure you have kids at the right time.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right.
Wisdom from a father for Father's Day.
And they bought me this shirt.
Oh, there you go.